There are two types of divorce lawyers. There are you guys, who are, and the Debbie Chisholms, and shout out to James Carroll Mediation, and all the wonderful people who are shield maidens and Vikings and warriors who really want to defend and help you from your village being pillaged and raped and all the rest of it.
Yes.
And you are a shield wall. And there are others who are like hookers on a clock.
I do have.
You want that blowjob? Give me the money. You want that? Give me the money.
Okay.
You want that? Give me the money. Am I wrong? No.
Preparing ahead of your meetings so that you go in, you already know
What you need.
for yourself the context,
Yeah.
right? And you go in with questions specific to you so that that lawyer isn't having to teach you about the basic context and concept. So I remember a very senior barrister said to me once, a good outcome, a fair outcome, is one where nobody walks away feeling like they've won. And nobody walks away feeling like they've lost. Everybody walks away just feeling like it's done.
Hi, welcome back to the Big D with Ate and Buzzy. And today we are welcoming in Sam Singer and Sophie Wellings. You are the powerhouse duo behind Courtney Legal.
Yay! Welcome! Welcome. And we are very good friends.
We are.
Sophie is actually the person who saved my life. I will say on camera, we were introduced by a mutual friend who said, have a little chat to my friend Sophie. It was the numb years. I call it the numb years, where people think they know something's not right in their marriage, but you just soldier on and you were a little bit numb. And Sophie was the first person to be like, in my professional opinion, wake the fuck up.
It was a metaphorical slap with a fish.
It was a metaphorical slap. It was you're a danger girl. Anyway, and I thank you. And you say,
You're welcome.
and now you're a very good friend and a shield maiden. And any friend of Sophie's is a friend of mine. So you are now my good friend as well. And I am so proud. And you know what? Birds of a feather flock together. And you do beautiful work. You are both high achieving, badass, kick-ass barristers. You are helping people in the most lowest points. And you have now created this incredible platform. Tell us a little bit about it. Courtney.
Do you want to go or should I?
You go.
Okay. So Courtney came from Sam and I putting our heads together. We're both experts in our field, so we're both family law barristers, and we help a few people a lot. And what we wanted to do was help a lot of people a little bit. And by doing that, what we did was we cracked open our expertise and decided to share it. And that's what Courtney is. Courtney is a platform that cracks open our expertise and says, would you like to know more about what you're going to go through? It's really a library, and it's just a library of content that explains in simple terms, in layman's terms, no jargon, simple English language, what is going to happen to you when you have X dispute, Y dispute, divorce, children, and what happens in the courtroom. So the thing that's sort of, I hesitate to use the word innovative about myself. But
I'll say it. I'll say it. Well,
it's
So I'll do the preamble and you. So
okay.
So innovative, the
It
first
is.
of its kind,
Game changer.
award-winning,
Yeah.
game changer.
Game
There you go.
changer.
Thank
Game
you, thank you.
changer.
The thing that's innovative about it, but it's very simple. It's not innovative in that it's new. It's just new to what we are doing, right? So the thing that's innovative about it is that we have animated in very simple ways. It's not, it's not a Disney film.
No.
We have animated what happens in a courtroom for the most frequently, the hearings that you will most frequently come across in family law. And what that means is that people, whether or not they've got a lawyer, I mean, it's very helpful for people who don't have lawyers, but even for the people that do have lawyers, we as lawyers speak to you in a certain way because we have to get this information across to you. We have to use our expertise, but you might come away from a meeting with us and still have a million questions and still not really have a sense of what's going to happen.
And feel
when
silly.
you go,
Yeah.
you feel silly asking.
Yeah.
You sort of like, I sort of understood that, but did I really? And the thing about Courtney is, in your own time, you can log on. And if you have a solicitor, they might say to you, right, next week we have an FDR. And you're thinking, what's an FDR? And you need to come along to this FDR and be ready to make the best settlement possible with your ex-spouse. And you're thinking, okay, well, how am I going to do that? And you can log on to Courtney and you can go to the FDR page. It will explain what the FDR is. It will explain what documents you need. And it will show you in an FDR what happens. Now, obviously, in a simplistic way, what happens in our example FDR isn't for you to take home and say, right, I'm going to come up with that settlement and copy it. Not at all. It's to demonstrate to you what actually happens in a courtroom. And that small innovation, we believe, and we have been told, really, really helps people to feel more comfortable stepping into that courtroom. I mean, particularly if they have to represent themselves, because there's just such little help for those people out there. So that's what we've done. We've taken our expertise and we've sprinkled it a bit further and wider.
I'm right in thinking that the concept of Courtney Legal was born from the school gates and you just being asked by regular mums.
Legions of like the meat, what they call like
I set up Courtney. We set up Courtney around the time that you made that call to me. It was already happening, but so that's what it is.
So basically, you're giving loads of people access to Sam and Sophie in the way I'd be like, Sophie, can I just ask you? You're doing that for everyone, and I love that because I felt really, it was a privilege to have your expertise, your friendship, your guidance. And I just thought, what would I do if I didn't have you like holding my hand? And it is a very intimidating process. You're heartbroken.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can be financially compromised. You can be emotionally vulnerable. You could be, so many people are in different situations. You could be in a narcissistic abusive. You could be in a domestic abusive. You can be so many different things and you're having to muster all this strength and you don't know where to start. So I love what you said about roadmap. And this is the thing, when you're getting a divorce, it is the only way I can say it is going to war. You're in the trenches. You are doing something which is huge. It's not like that for everybody, but a lot of the time it is. And you don't know how to navigate it.
The great thing about this platform is that it doesn't have to be all in the trenches aggro. You're explaining things and providing information in a way that you can read at home on your own without getting a bill for at the end.
And digest it.
Yeah, and it feels like this really comforting resource.
A kind space.
Yeah, like, we're sitting here now, we were speaking before we went on record about our own personal situations and like you're bringing the whole legal side of divorce. It's not just the court, am I right?
Yeah, no, but we talk about all different processes. So you can watch a mediation in action, you can watch an arbitration in action. We talk about all the different options. One couple, one lawyer, for example, which is becoming increasingly popular as it should be.
We discussed that with Debbie Shield-Maiden Chisholm from Stewart's about, I call it collab law, but it's not, it's collab law. It's not a collab law. Collaboration law? What is it? Collaborative law. Not hashtag. Tag me. I was like, I do collabs all the time on my Instagram. No,
Similar idea.
Similar, yes, ish.
And even within that, there's collaborative law and there's one couple, one lawyer, which are actually two different processes.
Yeah.
These top law firms, like, we spoke with Debbie obviously last time. You are working
with them.
So this is something that you are promoting. So it have the two together.
Well, yes, because what we know very well is that the need for expertise and insight doesn't stop the minute you leave your lawyer's meeting, and actually that's when your questions proliferate. And so I don't know. I think Sophie and I are probably both people who can't help ourselves from trying to help other people.
I know.
I'm sure I'm making a rod for my own back here, but I love it when people have the bravery to say, look, this is my situation. Often I do have a lawyer, but these are my real questions.
Yeah.
What are my options? What's going to happen? And actually, they're asking me these questions. Really, what they'd rather have is a private experience on the platform, dealing with the questions they have in their own time, at their own pace, without it being a snatched moment. I love helping people in that way. And Courtney is really our desire to do that for everyone.
So,
Thank you.
Tell us what's the most common question that you find people are sidling up to you and asking for advice on?
I don't know if they start with a question, but they always start with this kind of startled look and this sense of, I just don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, to me, being in this professional field for 20 years, it's just unforgivable because, I'm sorry to get a bit serious for a
No,
minute,
but it's true.
but if you have been doing this work for, say, 10 to 15 years or longer, you have seen multiple reports and data come out over that time, making it so clear how the system fails the majority of people. And so I want to tell people it's not your fault. This is systemic. There are so many campaigns ongoing to change the law, to address the procedure, to deal with protection against abuse. It's not you. But in the meantime, while people are campaigning for change that always seems so far away, you just need to get empowered and educated. And we are so excited to help people with that. The challenge, as I was explaining earlier, Buzzy, is that the people who get Courtney the most are actually top flight lawyers who are like, oh yes, please. We want our clients definitely need this, because when we finish the meeting, they still have questions. They still need the expertise. And so we're just trying to find a way to get these resources into the hands of the people who really desperately need them. And we're starting to do that through some charities.
If, okay, let's say I am getting divorced and I don't want to get a lawyer. I'm thinking I'm going to do it all on my own. How can Courtney work for me?
You can
First, always try and get some legal advice. It's like surgery. I mean, you just don't attempt
wing
it
it.
yourself unless you absolutely have to.
There are some people that have to. There shouldn't be. There shouldn't be anybody who has to. But that ship has sailed with legal aid. So, for those who really can't afford legal advice, there are two different ways. We donate Courtney to charities so that those specific charities who help people in these circumstances can give Courtney to them for free.
Love
Wow.
that.
So on our website, if you go to the area that talks about our partners, it shows the law firms that give Courtney to their clients as part of their service, and it also shows the charities that we already work with. I'm hoping that we'll be working with more charities over time. We're a very small body and we're sort of donating our expertise and time, to all of these charities. And the other thing is that it's an individual subscription plan. So anybody can go onto Courtney and get a membership. It's £25 a month, which is considerably less than it costs.
It's not even an email.
That's not even a
Well,
blink.
exactly.
Like, not even a
Plus
blink.
VAT.
Yeah, literally.
Exactly. So it's expensive if you were to compare it to, I think somebody was saying, buying a coffee, or we are more than a Netflix subscription. I'm sorry. We are.
Oh god.
But
Yeah.
it is in comparison to what somebody would have to spend to even walk into the room to get the kind of expertise that is on that platform. It is really inexpensive. And as I say, we have considered everybody's circumstances, so we donate it to charities. I mean, there are times when people who really can't afford it approach us, and we just donate it to them.
You want to help. You want to help.
Yeah, and we give voucher codes, which actually we will do for your listeners.
Oh, thank you.
So
Yeah,
we'll set that up.
There are amazing, stunning, what we call pro bono charities in this space. So charities that provide legal representation for free to people who are in need. So people should always explore that option. And even though legal aid has been pared back to the bone, people should check whether they're eligible for legal aid. But there is a huge gap between what those services can provide and the full service that a lawyer would be able to give.
Now, one of the things that we, Ati and I, are both very much in at the moment is the concept of a fair settlement and coming to a fair point for both ourselves, our children, and our exes. What is a fair settlement? What is the fair point?
Yeah.
That we
Legally, spiritually, and everything in between. Because, like in the eyes of the law, what is fairness?
This is such a difficult one. I feel like it should be called the family justice system, because I mean, justice is like what you get from a court, and really, ideally, you won't be going there at all. But Sophie, what would you say?
So I remember a very senior barrister said to me once, a good outcome, a fair outcome, is one where nobody walks away feeling like they've won.
Interesting.
And nobody walks away feeling like they've lost. Everybody walks away just feeling like it's done.
Neutral.
And often I have found that the most correct outcomes that I've been involved with, you do get that sense that, okay, we probably didn't win, because I hate using the word win. But we didn't get over the line on that one point. But what's happened in our negotiated settlement is about right. And it's something that everybody can move on forward from.
I didn't get the dining room table, but I have got the signature.
That reminds me about Philippa Johnson. So a really amazing, renowned mediator called Philippa Johnson talked to us and said, you know, the reason why mediators wouldn't really want to think in the concept of a fair settlement, her perspective was, I mean, people want to be right. I am right about this. I talk about principles. And she said, well, being right is fine. It's pretty lonely. It's nowhere near as good as being okay. And so you just want to be okay.
But being right in principle doesn't have a place in
court
in this situation,
no.
does it?
Gosh,
and that feels so wrong.
It does.
I had very good advice from Lizette from Stewart's, who works with Debbie Chisholm, and she said, "That's how we make our money, from people wanting to be right." She's like, don't ever say that. But she's like, you know, she goes, you know, and that really stuck with me. It's like, you pay a lot of money to be right for your principles, or do you want to be free?
And the right lawyers, like Lizette, will say that.
I love, and literally, do you want to be right or do you want to be free? And that literally, could we put that on a poster? Because that really stuck in my head, and I let go of a lot of things, and that was a surrender. But there's some things you should absolutely not put, like you should stick up for yourself. Like, I don't know, you work with very high profile people, there's gag orders, there's people who want to punish through money. At what point do you say, what is the line in the sand where you're like, actually no, I should stick my heels in and fight? And is it different for everybody?
Yeah. Every case turns on its own facts and specific circumstances. And that's, you know, something that's difficult about our system and the beauty of our system, in a way. The grey area is where each case turns on its own individual facts. So it would depend. I think we start from everybody thinks of barristers as fighters. Actually, good lawyers, barristers, solicitors equally, start from the basis of what is the best thing for my client. And overwhelmingly the best thing for them would be to, as efficiently as possible, extract the conflict to an end with a good or good enough outcome. But there are times when you have to fight. And
not naming any names or anything, just because of jigsaw identity, because that's something I've learnt. But say if someone wanted to put a gag order on you, what would you do, Sophie?
Funny. You should say that.
Or go for spousal support or anything like that.
May not have had a conversation.
Possibly with a close personal friend.
I can't imagine anyone would.
You can try, bitches.
That's an ever-changing landscape.
Yeah,
because the law,
because that's happening a lot. You've seen it in a lot of high-profile cases where you can't talk about this, or people try and cover up affairs or bad behaviour, and it does feel very Handmaid's Tale. But like, where is the line on that? And
because that has no place in the situation, does it?
But it's wrapped up
very,
as part
very
of
hard for people. One of almost always the hardest part of my job, I don't know if you find this, Sam, at the beginning of meeting a client, when they come with their extremely real emotions and baggage is the wrong word because it makes it sound negative, but everything that's happened to bring them to this point.
Narrative.
Their narrative.
That's good.
And
I was going to say chaos.
yeah.
God,
And they're desperate. They're desperate, like Philippa said,
Yeah.
to be right or to be heard.
yeah.
And it's awful because we often have to say, I'm so sorry. This doesn't have a place in this particular, in this courtroom, in your case. I need to know these cold, hard facts about your bank accounts and various other things. And the fact that someone's had an affair,
It doesn't matter anymore.
it
It
doesn't
matters.
matter, makes
But
it
not in the
sound like,
but
on a legal sense.
yeah. We discussed this with Debbie how that Victorian morality has gone out of divorces because in the 80s it would be like, oh, he had an affair, have an extra 50 grand, love. Do you know what I mean? And now that's not what it's like.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It's about getting the
The
balance.
zeros that would be flying in some people's cases, not naming any names, libel
It
law.
is really, really hard, and I do find that really, really difficult.
Yeah.
To say,
How do you manage that with your people that come to you?
by letting them at least feel heard by me, because
Yeah.
this is where the system is in a real state and has gone from a perspective in the 70s where the law was changed to stop men from saying she's had an affair, therefore because it started from being his money. It was I should have to give more. So it's actually now that same premise is now being used. Some would say to stop women in particular, but generally those who've been abused, from raising what happened to them in the context of financial proceedings around divorce. And Resolution have done this really excellent paper on it that came out last year, and the result of which is the professionals involved, like a massive proportion, like 80% of them, to cut a long story short, think we as a system are getting it really wrong.
Oh,
I do think it's quite an interesting concept, though, with the idea of chaos and toxicity that surrounds divorce often, is by taking the blame away from it, you are neutralizing some of that chaos and toxicity, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, you're dissolving a contract. Is what really a divorce is.
Yeah.
And how do we dissolve this in a cleanest way possible?
Trying to be as kind as possible.
Yeah, and accepting what is. This piece of paper that you're going to get at the end is not going to right any of the emotional wrongs that you have been put through.
That's what karma's for, and therapy.
And a black catsuit and a can of gasoline, but we won't. We might cut that.
Very different prescriptions going on.
I don't condone violence at all, just saying. But you dissolve the contract, you go away and heal. And as someone who's quite neurospicy, surprise, surprise, I just got diagnosed with ADHD a few months ago. I love the fact that Courtney's very visual.
Yes.
Because I find that it's so many women, millions of women in their 40s and 50s are getting divorced. They're being diagnosed with being on the spectrum. I have shown you my paperwork, which you both laughed at, because I was just like, it is really challenging to get divorced when you are, you could be dyslexic, you could have ADHD,
Totally.
you could have organizational, executive function, How do you, and that is things I have really struggled with. How does Courtney help someone who is neurospicy go through the process of divorce, which I find incredibly challenging, on top of being a mum, on top of working, on top of managing my feelings, and then I've got paperwork?
Yeah. It's
like, what?
And I guess I would say, so from her perspective, that it's up to neurospicy people, to use your wonderful phrase. They will be able to tell us how it helps, or if it helps. All we know is that the way that lawyers learn at university, which is, it's good that we're in a library, isn't it? It is dense text and essay based. Yeah. And that doesn't work for everybody. Yeah. And so I did study history. I'm a unicorn. I studied history, so I can read and I can read and I can digest stuff and I can, but when it comes, only if I'm interested, which is the ADHD. So I can do it if I'm interested, but this is not interesting. It is my life, but it's very painful.
But it's pain. I find it challenging. I know so many other people I've spoken to find it challenging. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you reckon in terms of the way that the platform works? We should give Stacey a shout out, because she's ODHD. So Stacey Dogood is an amazing journalist, writer and artist, and she has some of the neuro spiciness that you've mentioned, and she has happened upon some of our content, and she seems to have said that it would have really helped her in her divorce.
Yeah.
Particularly, I think the wall video, for example, and how to visualize or have metaphors around what you're going through, rather than reading lawyer speak, which is so difficult to get through.
One of the things that that is talked about in my legal meetings, but not talked about, is children and custody and what happens to the kids. And obviously, there's a lot of talk around making sure the children come first, that they're okay, and that everyone puts a big smiley face on around them, make sure that they're not affected by this. What can you tell us about the truth of children and custody, and where does Courtney Legal come and the platform help with all of that?
So we are starting to build up our children content. We've just released our first children hearing video, which aims to show people, I mean, again, it's sort of almost repeating myself. The court has a place. It should be the last resort, particularly when it comes to children. There are many cases that go before judges in relation to children that just shouldn't be there. And this short video that we've put in front on our platform just shows judges dealing with the everyday things that come before them, that two adults working together better would have been able to agree. And it's about giving those parents, I guess, the language, the support to be able to get to the place where they can work together. I would really recommend listening to one of our podcast episodes on our platform. On the mediation page, again, Philippa Johnson, she talks really, really well about how to give parents the knowledge and the skill set to work together for the benefit of their children, to come to sort of agreed outcomes. There isn't a one size fits all answer to the best way of dealing with the children problem. I'm not sure what you would say about this, Sam, but try and take a step back always.
But how do you protect your children when perhaps that your ex-husband or partner doesn't have the same vision, either for education or money, or they're putting other choices? Not saying it's particularly for Buzzy and I, but just generally, how do you protect when they're being like that?
That's really hard, isn't it, Sophie? But I always think when I'm doing my cases, like, what did you think was going to happen when you were together? You would have worked a way around it, and somebody would have had to compromise a bit.
I mean, you can come to a decision together, or you can go to a judge who doesn't know your children at all. Right? Doesn't know you at all, has very little time, and looks at a piece of paper in black and white, has a brief discussion with lawyers or with you in person, and then has to make an arbitrary decision about what's best for your children. And
a life-changing decision.
A life-changing decision. And it's very, very, very difficult to... Not everybody will be able to come to the decision together, but even when you are extremely frustrated, just remember that if you do end up in court over this, a judge is going to make a decision that you may or may not like, and that might have to be the outcome. But just remember that the person doing that isn't going to know you, isn't going to know your children.
And you should communicate that to the other side.
And try your best to work together. It's, as I say, it isn't always suitable, but mediation, there's child inclusive mediation.
Oh, where you get the
which
kids.
A lot of people don't know about.
I didn't know that.
Well, I've done mediation.
With the children?
No, with myself. And we decided that maybe mediation wasn't going to work for us.
It doesn't work. But you do have almost certainly the rules.
You have to go through that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That you'd have to try, and it can work wonders for some people.
Yeah.
And there are people who disagree intensely about the finances, but are able to mediate about the children. So even though the outcome of your divorce is that everything is changing with the finances and with the children, and it's so hard to sort of separate those two things out, but legally they are separate. And so it is possible to be hotly contested business, what happens to this family business that you both own and work in, at the same time as being able to mediate the outcome of what school is best for your children, or
And that's what people don't understand. You have to kind of do it in
Yeah.
side by side, and it's wild because one can be going wrong, the other can be going really slowly, and having to navigate. You think it's all the same thing, but they're two different projects to deal with, and that's what people don't realize. You think it's the same thing, but it's
No,
two.
it's not.
No, it's not.
Yeah, because
It is really hard.
I think
Really
that's
hard.
something, I mean, certainly through all the episodes that we've done together so far, I think I say in every single one that my biggest fear in the question that I always have and I still have is, am I going to be okay?
oh, you will because you're fabulous, and you have Courtney.
Now I'm going to be
Now you'll be okay. But yeah,
When Sam was saying earlier, what do people come as their first question?
Yeah.
They don't say this, but what they mean is, am
Yeah.
I going to be okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to me? What's
Yeah.
going to happen to me? And we can't give everybody an individual answer to that. But what Courtney's trying to do is to show them at least a little bit what is going to happen to them and how to
tools.
avoid the pitfalls that some people can fall into.
What are those pitfalls?
Yeah, what are the top 3 things people get wrong? Because you learn the most from mistakes. So when you come in, give me your lawyer. Oh, I should have done that.
Number 1 for women.
Yeah.
Not caring enough about pensions.
Oh,
My goodness, you are likely if your ex had
their pension, your pension,
all the pensions,
all the pensions. Keep your eye on the ball. Because
Yes.
why? Because
because you can share them on divorce, and people statistically, women do not seek
freelance scum.
or
I've been freelance scum since I was 22. What's a pension? I've got a piggy bank under my bed.
know.
but if
But
you have a
particularly-
grown-up job, yeah.
if you are like a nurse
Yeah,
or a
or
policeman
corporate,
or whoever, just investigate and get advice on dividing pensions.
I
Please.
would not have even have known that to advise to a friend. So that's really
Yeah.
interesting.
And my second one, can we do 3 each? Sorry. We've
Yeah,
really
3
got-
each.
No,
got me-
This
got
is
me
amazing.
barristers.
I
think
love
it's
it.
terrible,
This is
isn't
you're
it?
giving the people what we need.
So actually, at some point, a judge would say, "Thank you, Miss Singh, you're going to have to stop talking now." So you need to now
No,
perform that.
no, I
keep
love
talking.
keep
I'll
talking.
tell you, I learned a friend when you should.
Yeah.
Yes.
The next one for me would be really, really cynical. People who,
About what?
my
About
friend
everything.
Jo got 125% in her divorce. No, she didn't. And that's unreal.
Lies.
Well, taking everything you hear from outside of your
Yeah.
expert team with a pinch of salt, what you find online, unless it's, from
Yeah.
a good source. So that's the other thing. Really insulate yourself against well-meaning friends and family who don't actually know
all
what they're
that
talking about.
unsolicited
We're
advice.
going to call that divorce urban legends.
Exactly.
Divorce urban
We're
legends.
going to ask you
Yes.
some questions, I think, at some point, and
Yes.
see whether you understand whether something is myth or.
I love
Yeah,
that.
that's a really that'd be a
we know
good
nothing.
that'd be a good game. Well, those are my 2. I feel like you want 6 pitfalls. What would you say, so? There's so many. to choose
There's
from.
too many.
You're like,
I was thinking about your
yours, Ashley?
pensions point because
Yeah.
the reason why women don't seem to care or know to care about the pensions is that the thing they care the most about is the house. Right?
yeah.
Often. So they will often trade for the now and not worry about the future. So they'll say, I don't care about the pension if I can have the house.
Yeah.
So
Please give me this.
interesting.
And I think a really good piece of advice is to not forget about future you, right?
But then future you is null and void if you get remarried. Is that right?
I love it, yeah.
We're going meta. We're going like 3D.
Depends
Which is quite misogynistic, I think. It's like,
So-
once the chattel has been handed over
Yeah.
to another farmer,
So
I have
someone
hands
dies
clean.
responsibility.
Wait till you hear about the law in other places. It's in some parts of the US. It's completely wild. Like you are not
It's the
entitled to
wild,
any
wild
maintenance.
west.
Like, you can't make it up,
You
am I
can't-
right?
No. I mean, it's kind of. I spent some time in the US as a barrister doing a kind of educative scholarship, and my co-scholar and I were
With your
just sitting
mouth
at the
in
back
the
of the court,
drawer.
just going,
Yeah.
"What the hell just happened?"
Right.
So if you have an affair, if you commit adultery, in one particular state at the time. It could have changed.
Yeah.
Back then, when I was young,
Yeah.
you were disqualified from claiming maintenance, which had the effect of course, think about how this
What, the
works.
woman or the man? Or
Both, but the effect was because women were more likely to be financially dependent. It meant that men could have affairs without any disqualifications. They were never going to seek maintenance from their housewives. It meant that women who were dependent could not have affairs. They couldn't even start a new relationship until their divorce
Legal
was over.
chastity belt.
Crazy.
Somebody
Legal
once- yeah.
chastity belt.
Literally.
Somebody
Yes.
once told me, and I don't know
Medieval.
if it's true, but I will find out, and we can put it in the show notes.
Yes.
If in California, I believe it's an almost formulaic approach to maintenance.
10
And
year, you
it's
get
10
half,
years,
half
exactly.
of everything. Which
So
is
that's
why
Hollywood marriages last 9.5 years.
Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman, not saying that, Anne.
Yeah.
But that was
you-
under 10 years for, yeah.
Buzzy asked a really good, like sensible
Yes, she did ask a
question.
sensible question,
I'm
which
very
is,
Yeah.
is it true that when you remarry,
It is, isn't it?
Well, there's a difference between capital and income.
exactly.
Ooh.
So, no, not in
Tell us more.
What brought us on to this was the pensions.
Yeah.
Right? So the pension share, which you may or may not be entitled to depending on your own circumstances and the facts and length of your marriage and assets, etc. But let's say you got a pension share on divorce. That happens at the point of your divorce.
You keep it
You keep it
forever.
forever. What you get from the house, you keep forever. The only thing that changes with remarriage is your right to maintenance.
And then, now there's two different
Which
types
still
of
is-
maintenance.
yeah.
There's child maintenance
Yes.
and there's
Yeah.
spousal support.
Yeah.
Yes,
What-
it's only the spousal support
So
that would
let's say we'll have a make up a person.
Yeah.
Anne has 3 children. Her husband and her are divorced. Anne has the children living with her all the time.
Yep.
She then gets maintenance support
Mhm.
to look after those children
Mhm.
and spousal support so that she can
Look after,
look after
the children.
and herself,
and
herself.
herself.
hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then gets remarried.
Mhm.
That maintenance
For the kids.
for the children
Stays
remain
Till
yes.
18. Till 18.
But
or,
because Anne's
or education. If you
found a new prince in her life, that prince now pays for her.
Correct.
It's gross. Sorry. That was my inside
Well,
voice.
Anne is very happy.
That was my inside voice.
The thing is, actually, there are so many more gross things than that. But
But
yeah.
it is. But my friend. Let's cut that bit. I heard it because I don't want my friends to be like, bitch, don't talk about me on through. We'll cut that bit. So I heard of a case.
Mhm.
You know, a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, where she was separated from her husband. She fell in love, wanted to do IVF, and they said to her, "No, you can't until you're divorced. We cannot implant an egg in another man's wife."
Oh.
Yeah. And I was shocked. So she was.
in the UK.
Yeah, she wasn't allowed to do until she could legally prove that she was divorced. They wouldn't implant on her.
Well,
In the UK.
I'm not a surrogacy expert.
A
at all.
few
I
years
know
ago,
some
not long
amazing
ago.
some
And I was
amazing
really shocked by that. Is that like? And I
Maybe a
thought, are
policy in the
you?
clinic, maybe.
It could be a clinic policy.
Because
I'd have
it was to do
check.
with child maintenance. Because they were like legally, even though you're pregnant under the marriage, like the child maintenance issue?
That's not even correct.
Was it a lawyer that told her
No,
tactically?
no,
not to do it,
the
or
clinic said
I
we
think
won't.
the clinic's got
I
something
think
wrong
The
there.
clinic said we won't implant in you until we can show papers
'cause it's
because
not-
it will be a messy thing, like you're pregnant under another man's watch, kind of that kind of.
And I can
No.
imagine
It
a
shocked me.
clinic being like, I don't want that mess,
Yeah,
whether or not they
but
should.
legally you can have IVF and be because it
we
made me
should
think.
decline to answer that as a question because we are not experts in HFEA law
Yeah.
and surrogacy and,
No,
and fertility law. I know somebody excellent who will get us the question, and if you would like, I will ask the question, and you can put in the show notes the answer.
But certainly, like
It shocked me, but
father, husband who is not father of baby
Mm.
is not financially responsible for the
That
other
child.
person's baby unless he has been raising the baby
As a child
as
of
a
the
child
family.
of the family.
Funny, interesting.
So-
And yes, it would be really complicated.
Yes,
Yeah.
there are very complicated cases where you have potentially like a stepchild of a first marriage and a second marriage, and
Yeah.
then they've raised that child.
All the blended family.
Yeah, all the blended family stuff. If a child is treated as a child of the family,
Then they were
but in
entitled to
this
child
circumstance where they're
maintenance.
already separate, I'm not sure.
No, it wouldn't be.
We can get you that answer.
Thank you.
But
But
we should decline to answer it.
But it's medieval, is what
is
we're
that
saying.
something-
It's
yes,
medieval.
barbaric.
On Courtney Legal, you can ask questions.
We get asked questions a lot, but we don't have a kind of chat bot.
Can I make a suggestion?
Mhm.
You should do Instagram Live.
Yeah, that is things that we've been very
We're really
we've been
shy.
shy. We've been very funny about putting ourselves out there.
I'll host.
Done. When we
I'll
do
see the video. I'll come back next week. But seriously, I think that would be such a beautiful thing where you have a monthly. Doors are open in clinic. Let's go, and we can ask, and people, you will be on fire.
Yeah,
And people to ask in real time. It would be a very beautiful thing.
We could do it.
We could do
The
it.
first ones.
Yeah.
Very, very happy. I mean, we are so. I mean, one of our
Yeah, we could do
problems is that
live.
We just love. We love helping everybody. We would end up with
It's done.
Yeah.
Soho House live event.
That feels
Live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love
that
it.
feels really
Live podcast.
like not regular. What you've just said, I love helping because I feel like the legal world is quite like, well, hang on, if you want my help,
Pay for
here's
it.
here's the
yeah,
bill.
I agree with
which
you,
is
but
why
I just don't. That's not who I am or how I was raised. Like my husband's like, you can only do the divorces of people who are wealthier than us. Otherwise, they'll all be living in our house. And I'm like, you are so right. They will be. I'll be like making extra accommodation in the garden. I have a problem. It's not altruism. I have a problem. Courtney is
our solution to our Courtney is the solution to our problem, which is we do want to help everybody.
and now nobody wants to stand near me at the school gates because it'll mean they're getting divorced.
Oh, because people and the gossip. I
They
don't know.
won't. I love my school mum friends. They're very welcome to come and talk to me about anything, including bake sales and all the things I haven't done that I was supposed to do.
Because you're busy.
Or their
Avoid the
divorces.
bake
I've got
sales.
I've got a very inappropriate thing to say. Should I say it?
Definitely.
So in my experience, and I've spoken to lots of different people, and we're so lucky to have this beautiful community on the Big D. But there are two types of divorce lawyers. There are you guys, who are, and the Debbie Chisholms, and shout out to James Carroll Mediation, and all the wonderful people who are shield maidens and Vikings and warriors who really want to defend and help you from your village being pillaged and raped and all the rest of it.
Yes.
And you are a shield wall. And there are others who are like hookers on a clock.
I do have.
You want that blowjob? Give me the money. You want that? Give me the money. You want that? Give me the money. Am I wrong? No.
I'm thinking at it about
You guys are not hookers.
We're thinking about our code of conduct. Going, what did you say? Can I tell you my personal experience?
I told you, I prefaced it, people. I prefaced it. But do you know what I mean? It's
Can I
like,
tell
it's
you how to avoid
cold-blooded.
that?
It's cold-blooded. And I am all for sex work. Like,
Okay.
it's legally, like in Amsterdam. I have not, but I'm just saying, it is cold-blooded.
Can I tell you my view on how do you find someone who's doing this job
Yeah.
for the right reasons?
A Viking warrior versus give me the cash.
But in other words, how do you find the divorce lawyer who does not think it's all about them? I just don't get them. It's not about you. Why are you arguing like
interesting.
you're in the war?
Yeah.
How do you know when you're talking to that person?
Okay.
Yeah.
So there is no way really of knowing, except there are loads of ways. But I'm not going to throw people under the bus
No.
at this point. We can sign off.
Next episode.
But I do personally think there is a huge emphasis in our profession, in the legal profession, on pro bono work, so charity work. I think that's a pretty good way of finding whose parts in the right place. I don't know, what do you...
The
It's on
culture.
the pro bono recognition list, which Samantha absolutely is.
Of course.
Yeah. And Stuart's donates so much to charity. Like, it's the culture of who you're dealing with. Interesting.
But like I said, be cynical. Like, ask questions. If you're not sure, ask questions and query and sense check and all that stuff. But yeah.
How do you keep the whole conversation objective?
With your lawyer, with your ex-husband, with your everything.
All of it, yeah. Because I think one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast is that we started talking to each other about our own experience and how awful it was and how wronged we felt and how angry and You know, we've been through every kind of
Yeah.
scenario that's highly charged with emotion.
How do you
And
detach?
how do you detach that and the children and the future fear and all of that to normalize it and make it neutral and less volatile and
That
wild?
sounds really hard to do.
Yeah, it's very hard to do. I would say just because something is common doesn't mean it's normal. Do you know what I mean? It's not normal for you. A lot of people go through it, but it doesn't make it normal for you.
Or okay.
So it's okay to have all of those feelings, and you should. And a good lawyer, I think Sam sort of said this earlier, will tell you why it's not legally relevant to the outcome of your case to bring those feelings into a courtroom or into a legal letter or into an offer letter. So you might be writing an offer letter and you might kind of want to chuck in a line there about because you and your lady did and it's your lawyer's job to
let it go,
to help you be objective in your output to the court, to your former spouse, etc. But hopefully, I think a good lawyer like Sam will still also give you some space to make you feel held, but with an eye on the fact that as you're feeling held, you're being charged, right? So
6 minutes.
What Courtney's for?
6 minutes. That's what Debbie Chisholm said.
held.
You charge every 6 minutes.
I remember the great late Jenny Roberts, who was a member of our chambers, barrister, who then went on to be an absolutely wonderful, formidable High Court judge, who passed away not so long ago, and was dear to both of us and to everybody in our chambers. When I was a pupil, well, first, she's fabulous, and she would always be turned out.
Oh my
let me tell you. And I would always see her on a Sunday, because we've talked about this. I have head girl energy. Which
you have,
on every Sunday, I would go into my chambers to work
on a
and
spreadsheet.
To SWOT, yes.
And
Jenny similarly would always be there, and we would always have a cup of tea, and she always gave me advice.
Aww.
And I learned the most from watching her.
Yeah.
And she was absolutely brilliant as a barrister and then as a judge at making people feel seen efficiently. So one of the things that she used to do is she would memorize some of the facts about her client that weren't relevant to the case at all, but would make sure they knew that they were seen.
Yeah.
So when they came into the room, she wouldn't start by saying, right, this document X, Y, and Z. She'd start by saying, how is little Freddie and his goldfish that died? And I'm so sorry to hear about that. And they would just start with a chat that made that person understand that she was a human and she knew that they were a human, and this is all about a really difficult human process.
Yeah.
And then she got down to business and did all of the objective stuff for them and helped them stay in line.
So
it's a good example.
It's earning that trust, isn't it? And being able to feel like you're in a really safe space with your lawyer, and that they're saying, look, I do care about your legal side, but I care about you as a person.
Absolutely. Rapport. You need to have rapport and trust, and ask lots of questions. But on the emotional, like, how do you make the emotional journey while being asked to be pragmatic and commercial and all those things that are difficult to do at once? We do have a really lovely animation called The Separation Journey, which is about just that. How do you rationalize when you are facing what feel like literal storms? And I won't bang on about it, but it's a really powerful watch, I think.
Yeah, all the stuff we talked about, looking to the future, that the separation journey, you've got somewhere that you're going to, and imagine what that's going to look like. And also, this is relevant to the question you asked earlier about children. Whenever you're about to sort of snap or take that little jab and jab back, very hard not to, think about that child's wedding day and how you want to feel being sat at a table with the other parent on that child's wedding day, whether you could get to the point of doing that. And things like that, shift your focus to what that thing might do to that capacity to have that future.
You have to rise, but you also have to have a word with yourself and try to think about your thoughts. Only helpful thoughts. Don't go, we are all in charge of steering what's going on.
And re-triggering yourself. I've had a massive shift in that because my parents got divorced when they had a really wild 80s. My dad was a secret polygamist. It's a Netflix movie waiting to happen, which I probably will write up. But I've got a new agent. But it was wild and it was traumatic. And I just remembered sort of hating a bit of myself because of the way my mum spoke about my dad. And so for me, I'm just like, so, and I caught myself being like, and your father this and your father that. And I really turned a corner. I'm like, he was the cutest boy I ever met. He was the smartest boy. And you're so cute and smart because I married the nicest. And I see their little eyes light up. And they're like, Adana said to me the other day, do you think you'll ever be friends with Daddy again? I'm like, you know what? We just made the best people in the whole world. And you know what? I'm so lucky that we went on this journey and And I don't know if we'll be friends, but he's my family and
And did you feel good about yourself after?
You know what? It's that kind of like, you say it until you believe it. But it was really, I saw it was really helpful and healthy for her.
Yes.
And it was quite healing for me. And, you can, I think you have to compartmentalize. It's like, okay, that is not the whole person. And, Lizzie Pickering, who we had on the show, who's a grief counsellor, she said you cannot see a 26-year relationship with 2 children as a failure.
No. Yeah.
She's like, it's just not even, it's just like, you can't ration. Like, what did you learn from it? How did you grow from it? And so I think it's really healthy to think like that and to not, and like you're saying, the future, in my head, I want to be dancing on a table at their weddings and for Daniel to be there and for us to be cool.
Yeah.
Be
I think
cool.
ultimately that's what everybody hopes.
Yeah. I want to be French.
Right?
Let's have some red wine and I'll talk about your new wife. And it'll be like, I don't know. I want to be cool.
I always say, when I'm communicating with my ex, I always think to myself, what would my lawyer say to me if she was copied in on this?
Yes.
That's really good.
How would you feel if somebody published all of your communications?
Exactly. And then I think, well, she'd probably give me a slap on the face.
No, of course
so
not.
I'll rein it back in and be really nice.
Yeah.
And I think having a little tool like that is quite important to keep the two separate, to be pragmatic.
Yeah, grandparents. We were like, God willing, if my kids have kids. And I remember saying that, like at the end of our marriage, I'm like, we will be at graduations and weddings and baptisms and all these things, and we need to be kind and cool. But it's not always you can go into that, and if the other person isn't like that, you have to. You have to monitor that. But I think protecting your energy is really important.
Yeah, there's like a stoic thing,
Yeah.
isn't there? About, like, you don't want to don't become that thing that you hate. It's very easy to do that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this isn't my area. I don't know what I'm talking about.
No. Yeah.
Typically, we I don't know how long we've been
we could do it. This is amazing. This is pure gold. Could we add another section? Because we discussed 6 minutes. Because Debbie said 6 minutes, and I have a feeling let's just chuck in a new a segment. So
6 minutes.
6 minutes, because it's like you charge every 6 minutes that you think about someone. Solicitors do. So how can people get the most? Like, what questions should people come armed with for that 6 minutes?
It depends on what their circumstances are.
Yeah.
But that's what Courtney's for. One of the things that Courtney's for is preparing ahead of your meetings so that you go in, you already know
what you need
for yourself, the context.
Yeah.
Right? And you go in with questions specific to you so that lawyer isn't having to teach you about the basic context and concepts.
And they're not your therapist.
They're not your therapist.
They're not your therapist. They're not your friend. I think that is a big thing people don't realise. You go in there and you offload.
I believe
it's been
those things in my...
It's expensive.
Amazing.
She's great.
So if people go in thinking 6 minutes, let me go on Courtney, let me arm myself, and I can go in like a laser.
Yeah.
Is that what it's about?
We had Georgina Hamblin did a piece for us on, a bit like a podcast. It's a bit like your first meeting with a solicitor. So Georgina Hamblin is a really amazing trailblazing solicitor who is trialing a new model of charging people with fixed costs.
Oh.
Because lawyers are like taxi meters, we just go and go and go. That's the theory anyway.
Yeah.
Georgina is now is an award-winning lawyer for radically changing that model, and so she has done a piece for us on, from a solicitor's perspective, what kind of questions do people have for the first meeting, what, basically trying to do that kind of prep.
Oh, I love that. So prep is important. Yeah.
It is. I mean, you can either ask your lawyer to educate you at a massive cost,
It's like, yeah, no.
or you can educate yourself as long as you're going to the right kind of sources.
Yeah.
What is the worst bit of advice
Oh,
that
yeah.
you think people are often given?
Yeah.
Because that's what we are. So
We've had bad.
what are the three best things and what are the three
worst
worst things that people have?
I'll
suggested?
do a worst.
Yeah,
I mean, the worst is to get revenge, to take him for everything he's worth. I don't even know what that means.
Going in with that, I want to clean him out.
Like, what are you talking about? That's not a thing.
Making people pay, dragging them through the coals, all of that sort of.
It's like that premise. I mean,
yeah.
Using the kids.
It might technically be necessary to ultimately go to court, but that premise
Punishment.
is not why you do it.
Yes, we do not punish.
It will go wrong for you if you go into it with that mentality for that purpose.
Yeah.
And comparing your particular circumstances with anybody else's. Sam's already said this, to sort of be very protective of yourself of myths and other people's opinions. I know this person who was only married for 3 years and got, the house and everything, and he's now, living in a tiny little flat and has nothing.
Because she's got video footage of him doing something.
Just like your case is not the same as anyone else's, so don't compare and don't take advice from people. Get support from friends.
Yeah.
Get support from family.
And legal advice from
legal advice.
It's from Courtney and from your professionals.
Courtney isn't legal advice, and that's the thing that there's two very separate things. So the three things I would say when you say what are the three things that people should do, it's actually what are the three people or three things that people need when they're going through a divorce in an ideal scenario. Someone to lean on or multiple people to lean on, right? Somebody to take care of the emotional side.
Yeah.
Somebody to give them very good legal advice tailored to their circumstances, and education for themselves as to how to get through the whole thing, including things like Courtney. It's not only Courtney, but education from things that you can trust.
Yeah.
So the thing about Courtney is it's written, so primarily the library was written by Samantha and I, and then over time, as it's started to grow, we have other absolutely top flight professionals, barristers, solicitors, arbitrators, helping us by giving their content and widening our library. You can trust that content is coming from people who absolutely know what they're doing. Google is not always your friend, or any other search engine.
Yeah, you have to like
or AI. This is something also.
ChatGPT. Yeah. How do you feel as lawyers about ChatGPT?
It relies on the premise of your question being correct, and if
and all the biases and like you can't
It's not even that. I mean, so the view at the moment around legal AI is good, but again, you have to ask it the right question. To give you an example. Courtney is about English and Welsh family law, which is a specific jurisdiction. I tricked one of the well-known AI tools by saying, what is UK divorce law? And it told me what UK divorce law, that doesn't exist. Yeah. There are 3 different jurisdictions. The law in Scotland is different, the law in Northern Ireland is different, the law in England and Wales is different. So that is to me as a lawyer, I think that's dangerous.
That's a red flag. Yeah.
So
how
if
interesting.
You ask, so it's not quite. So yes, the AI may be the future, but not a significant part of it. In the meantime,
the nuance,
please
the
get legal
detail.
Advice. You wouldn't operate on yourself. Do I need a surgeon? Yes, you need a surgeon. When you buy a house, you don't know. Do I need a solicitor to help you? You need legal advice.
Yeah.
In your experience, because obviously you're, like I said, not divorced, but you've been through this journey with many people. What is the most common thing that you see people grow or learn, or they start here and they end there? What does that end person look like?
That's a good question, Buffy. You've got head guard energy too. Yeah, the growth, the journey.
Really, the question normally is, what have you learned about yourself?
Yeah.
So what is it that you learn, that your clients, the people
you've
that
seen
you've
it
been with,
what's the growth trajectory?
I mean, very typically, depending on what stage you get involved, from beginning to end, it would be very typical to meet someone who feels like they would never be able to survive on their own, and by the end of it, that's an unrecognizable feeling. But
like yeah, where you and also for so many people they've been gaslit to believe they can't be okay in order to stay in toxic relationships. They've been gaslit into thinking there's nothing out there, there is no future without that person. This is a narrative we hear
Well, it's a societal thing, isn't it?
literally, and all the the stigma. We both, the dinner party invites dry up because everyone thinks that you're going to have sex with their husband. And we were like, yeah, literally.
That's true.
If I was going to shag your middle-aged husband, it would have happened 10 years ago, mate.
Have dinner at my house.
Oh, Sam, thank you. But it's shocking. You suddenly become the village.
pariah.
You become a pariah. You get instead of the scarlet A, you have a D for divorce, and like, please stay away because you become a sexual threat it's very patriarchal. You become a sexual threat, and you will take away my husband and
This
my
is real.
provider and my yeah,
But I now have a lovely new boyfriend, and
who you will not be marrying.
now we can't marry, as we've worked out. But I get invited to places.
I'm still not
that's
invited
really
anywhere.
now, do you think that's
As a couple.
genuinely because people
Yeah.
see you as a threat, or because people are scared of what they perceive to be sadness? And
Both.
because I think British
Both.
people are uncomfortable with sadness in the same way that, I mean, Ate and I went to go see the Bridget Jones film together. And sorry if anybody hasn't seen the new Bridget Jones film, spoiler, but her husband dies. And there's this whole section at the beginning where, it's clear that people are very uncomfortable inviting her to places, talking about it. And it goes back to the usual tropes of her being the single person at the table. And they're like, what's single life like, Bridget? Like, it's so awkward. But I feel like as a society, we're very uncomfortable with things that are sad. So
My friend
separation, death, all of those things.
My friend said it beautifully. She said, people don't bleed on me. Isn't that beautiful? That people, they look at you and they go, don't bleed on me, because I don't want your blood on me. I don't want it to it could also be catching, and it's also could be very triggering if they're a bit rocky. It's like I don't want to catch the disease of divorce because I'm not that happy. And actually, you being really brave and taking steps is making me reflect on myself, mixed with I don't want to deal with you and your sadness, like you're saying culturally. Don't bleed on me. And I think it perfectly sums. People don't want you to bleed on them.
Yeah, they can't deal with the tears, and my God, I cry all the time. So
I'm not a crier, so I'm like the opposite. Like, he's so funny.
We've established this. You're an assassin.
You work out your feelings in other ways.
Through work and hard perseverance. It used to be sugar. That's why I gave myself type 2 diabetes. And another friend of mine, I have very wise, lovely friends, and she said to me, only happy girls cry. Because it's out, you process, you move on. And I never cried or processed. I ate, I got angry, I worked. I was very, I'm not head girl energy. I am type A.
You're type ABC.
You're the head of the cheerleader.
Yeah, so this is what we say. Buzzy is head girl, I'm head cheerleader. So I'm like, woo, woo, woo. Let me work all night, bang it out. And then, so for me, being successful and was very validating. So I didn't cry, I didn't process, I just achieved, which is not healthy.
Yeah, but it's not bad.
Yeah,
It's
not bad.
Get through it. It's a transition, and you can, mop up when you get to the other side.
So
Literally.
Which is
the blood.
would you recommend if you found yourselves in our situation?
Which we, God willing, you won't, but
we've met your husband, you definitely won't. Divorce party, yes or no?
I mean, I love a party.
You're both coming to mine.
I just never had an invite to a divorce party, which is a bit weird if you think about what we do.
Yeah, I mean, I love any excuse for a party. I think if I were to get divorced, I am definitely the type of person who would turn it into something positive. And have a divorce party. I actually had a peanut party this week.
What's a peanut party?
Exactly. What is a peanut party? It's something I made up. My daughter has really severe food allergies and has spent 6 years in and out of hospital, Great Ormond Street, has been having immunotherapy, and on Wednesday, she ate a peanut in hospital without, dying, which is massive progress.
Oh.
And when we got home, as a surprise, in the garden, there was a bouncy castle, and there was all of her friends wearing t-shirts with peanuts on.
Oh.
And they were like, "Happy Peanut Day!" And my friends were like, "You are so extra." And I am, but I think, do you know what?
Why we're
Sometimes
friends.
you have to celebrate. I love that idea. I think I would have a divorce party.
I think you
I'm not
would.
going to.
You're not going to come to mine.
You just you just never know. And I think I would. I think you should. There's a power in it.
I'm not.
Have a dinner party. Be chic.
Are you saying I'm not chic?
No, we're going to have, I think you and I would have a rager. And I think, Buzzy, if you don't want a party, have a little dinner.
Yeah, I mean,
There's a difference.
I'm at the kind of decision making of, do I take my wedding dress to a charity shop? Do I burn it, or do I keep it for the girls?
Do whatever makes you feel right in your own heart.
But wait,
But I
think
feel
wait.
like I'll regret whatever decision I make.
Stacey like completely redesigned it, I think. Hacked it apart and made it into something
For the
exciting.
divorce
It's not
party.
even that nice a dress.
You weren't into it. Keep it for your grandbabies. And they can play dress up in it, and that
If
will
you're
give
not
you
sure,
pleasure.
just don't do anything right now.
Yeah, do nothing. Sometimes
And
that's
then at some
powerful.
point,
Let the dogs lie on it.
well, and then at some point, you'll either have forgotten about it entirely, which means it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or
Do nothing.
You'll feel inspired to know what to do.
I don't know is apparently a really good answer. Apparently to be more comfortable with. I don't know.
Yeah. Be covered.
I don't know.
God, I don't know what to do in anything.
Well,
That's
you do
fine.
now. You've got Courtney.
Yeah.
So, saying that, thank you, Sam, Sophie. Can I just say, heartwarming, informative, fabulous. And just to wrap up this episode, when we were planning to come over, you texted me saying, Ate, how would you like us to dress? Like humans or lawyers? Which is going to be the title of this episode. And that made me howl, because I love you so much. You're so fucking cool. But also, what I think the whole point of what you do is, it's humanizing the law. And you are humans and lawyers. And I thank you. And that was what Courtney is. The law, which is humanized with love and kindness. So thank you so much. I'm feeling weepy now.
Having us.
Thank
Aw.
you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you. And I've got my papers for you to read afterwards. Thank you. I'm not even joking. Thank you.